is enough, and it's time for a change.
Hey, yo.
My life, my money, my legacy.
Bobby Lashley is the new WWE champion. Welcome, everybody, to the Wrestling Never Sleeps podcast. I am your host with the most, Jared Never Sleeps, along with my very, very handsome co-host, the straight shoot with the suit, Adam Anthony James Martin. Adam, how you doing this evening?
I am doing pretty well, actually. Raw was really entertaining. I found there was bits and pieces.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of really excited, kind of curious on to see where they go with things now, because now that we know the results of the main event, we know some key players that want specific matches for WrestleMania. We see some seeds being planted in a very short period of time for other feuds and potential matches to happen at WrestleMania. So this Raw kind of left me pumped up. Last Raw, I felt dragged on a little bit longer, or it felt like it took 5 hours compared to the normal 3. This week seemed to zip by pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it definitely left a lot of fans with a lot to talk about. We were live tweeting tonight, and people were really they were into this show. I've seen a lot of feedback where people were saying there was some great matches on the card. There's a couple, of course, with a 3-hour show. There was a couple of spots that were just kind of like snooze fest, but you can really expect that out of a 3-hour wrestling show, which is on a weekly basis. That's just way too much wrestling, in my opinion. But I mean, there's definitely a lot to talk about, and it leaves a lot of interest coming out of this Raw. Bobby Lashley is the freaking new WWE champion. Yeah, a long time coming. I'm looking at some fan footage, some fan stuff right here, and they're saying that this is 17 years in the making, and they're happy to see it. A lot of people are saying they're very happy to see this.
I think it's really exciting. I don't know if a lot of people thought that Lashley was actually going to win. I mean, with him and Drew, being the next potential big feud, and that was leading kind of towards that direction. We just didn't know how we were going to get there. And then, the Miz cashing in with his Money in the Bank kind of wasted, his opportunity with that. But with this being the big topic of the evening, I think it's really cool that Lashley is now WWE champion. I think it's great. Like you said, long time in the making. I think the fans are perceiving this and taking it very, very well, compared to, potentially the Miz hanging on to the belt after tonight and going into WrestleMania as champion, or them having WWE. I mean, when I say them, having to find a way to, get the belt off the Miz in another way, shape, or form. I think this was a really well played out, program between the two of them, Lashley and the Miz. I think it showed the Miz is still that good. Part of my French, chicken shit heel.
Yeah.
That can really...
and reliable, extremely reliable as a heel. I think that actually might have helped this whole Bobby Lashley WWE champion thing go down, because people just really hate Miz so much, and they hated the fact that he was champion, that people were just kind of like, let's just give it to Lashley. This is a good decision, because people are really happy about Lashley winning the championship. I'm seeing online.
Yeah, I think there's like a love-hate. Everyone expects, a guy like Lashley to come in, dominate, get straight shot right to the top. He obviously had his first run in WWE. It didn't go the way that he probably wanted it to. He reinvented himself in his time with TNA, was able to come back, rebuild himself, his own brand in WWE programming, and we basically got to watch him restart. Very similar, to the former champion Drew McIntyre. So they both kind of have a very similar story, which I never even thought of until now that we're really actually diving into it and talking about it. But yeah, I'm excited that he's champion. I'm excited to see what they do with him at WrestleMania. Obviously, I think the given is Drew McIntyre. Just because, Drew losing the title because of Lashley, him never getting his rematch, whether they invoke the rematch clauses or not nowadays. I might be out of the loop on that. But going into WrestleMania, is that the match that they have to make now, with Lashley now being the WWE champion?
Well, I think that's what's one thing that's great about this particular episode in the direction that Raw is going, because as we all know, it's no secret that Raw has been struggling for such a long time. And now the last 2 to 3 weeks has been actually pretty entertaining. Outside of it being this way too long, there's been a lot of nice little intricacies with storylines and putting things together that I'm very interested in. And to answer your question, I'm reading this tweet right here from at the shotgun, and it says at Mr. McMahon at Fight Bobby Lashley. At Fight Bobby is our new champ. Pull the trigger, Mr. McMahon. Pull the trigger. Do it now. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, WrestleMania 37 for the WWE Championship. So Drew McIntyre is the obvious choice, and I think that would be the good choice to have, especially since the wool was kind of pulled under him last year when he won because of the pandemic situation. He won it in front of no fans, but I think that'd be a great main event. Brock, the triple threat, possibly Brock, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley, or even a Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. They both have that kind of MMA background. So there's so many different ways. There's so many different things you can do with these type of feuds and these type of performers you have, but it's still going to have it's going to pique the fans' interest going into WrestleMania season. I think a lot of people are excited about this stuff.
Definitely. Now, if you go the route of, say, then again, a big what if, but if WWE goes the route of Lashley versus Lesnar, what do you do with Drew after that? Like, do you feel bad for the guy in a way, because he had this opportunity. He was champion during the the pandemic era, the no crowd era, I guess we'll call it. He never really got a fair 100% opportunity of being the champion and being that top guy for this company with that crowd support there live each and every event. Like so many other champions have had the advantage of doing that. He brought WWE through a struggle, a tough time, and still was and still
did a great job. Yeah,
he did an amazing job, in my opinion. And I think there was no other better person for that spot. But now with Lashley with the title, for me personally, I would like to see Drew and Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania 2 years ago, a year ago, even.
Yeah.
Would we have even considered that being a WWE championship at WrestleMania?
I mean, he was running around with Lana. And then before, he was running around with Leo Rush, with the whole Lashley gimmick.
So
showing his butt.
He reinvented himself and really pulled himself out of a jam that he wasn't a year ago. And to see him now sitting at the top of the mountain, for that Raw brand, it's pretty cool to see, especially with so many talented guys on that roster that have had their chance. And now seeing a guy with the experience like Lashley, the talent like Lashley, who's, again, he kind of reminds me of, and correct me if I'm wrong, or, throw your input in, of course, but this run kind of reminds me of the Mark Henry run.
Yeah, like the monster. I love that. The Hall of Pain, Mark Henry.
Yes.
It was just great. Monster heel, just kicking butt, kicking ass. Great gimmick. Yeah, I could definitely see that the monster heel, Mark Henry.
Lashley's kind of doing that right now.
Right. Except Henry didn't have a mouthpiece in a faction. That was the only difference, essentially.
That was the only thing.
Yeah. I think I would not be mad if they booked Brock versus Drew versus Lashley. I think that'd be a freaking awesome main event. I think that's even bigger than Roman versus Edge. That should be the main event, night 2 of WrestleMania. I don't think anyone could be mad about that. But speaking of Drew, we can get right into the show. Segment 1 start off with Drew McIntyre, and he cut a promo. He cut a little promo, just basically, saying what was going on, and he's looking forward to getting back into that WWE Championship mix. And then the Miz pops out, and the Miz demands that the announcer gives him the proper announcing, and he comes out and he has the pyro and he's being extra, man. And I can see why Vince McMahon trusts the Miz, because he's just really such an awesome, annoying heel just to start off this show.
Complete dick, like a guy that you love to hate, right?
Guy you love to hate. And honestly, when I first saw it, I was like, man, the Miz is really growing on me as a champ. Just the way she's such a jerk. He's just really such a good jerk.
You love to hate him.
Yeah. So then they go into a Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus match to start off Raw, and this match was it had like a big match feel. It was just nice to see two heavyweights go at it. As to start off Raw.
Oh, I loved it. It was like a pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
Kickoff Raw, which really set the tone and the pace to be what was expected throughout the rest of the evening. Obviously, like you said at the top of the show, they're a 3-hour program. You're basically running the same amount of time as a pay-per-view, but on television for free. So seeing this match was really, really cool, and it really drew out a little bit longer than I expected it. But given the time length, given the lineup that we were given for the rest of the card, I felt like these two guys really just went out all out. They put everything on the line as if they were in the main event at WrestleMania already, and they're really starting to build that vibe for that big match. Like you said, it felt like a pay-per-view match. It felt like maybe a WrestleMania match. And because the match was so good and well perceived online, we saw so many people tweeting about it and interacting with so many people that were in love with this match. If you, for some reason, don't do Drew and Lashley at WrestleMania, maybe you can do this again because it was such a good quality of a match, and the two have just fantastic chemistry, it seems. And again, they have a long back history too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way they were wrestling, it seemed like Drew McIntyre and even Sheamus had an element of having a chip on their shoulder, because Drew has clawed and scratched and rose to the top. He was the WWE champion, and then they took the belt away from him. So, it's all in storylines, but there's still a very real element to this stuff. It is business. So I feel like Drew in the back of his mind was kind of saying, I have to show these guys why I should be in that main event. I have to show these guys why I should be the WWE champion. I have to show these guys why I should be in a main event picture. And then Sheamus, there's that element as well. I'm sure he wants to go and have a great match with one of his good friends, his friends from over 20 years. And Sheamus wants to get back to that main event picture too. I believe he's a 2-time WWE champion. He's won the Royal Rumble before. So these guys wrestled and they put off a quality match that makes you think that, okay, this guy actually could main event a WrestleMania potentially. And it has the background story as well. You have the friends over 20 years that they had their differences now, and now they're fighting for a title. So I think definitely Drew McIntyre and Sheamus earned my respect in this match. And on top of that, the finish was awesome. With Sheamus is going for the bro kick, and he kicks, but he misses. And simultaneously, Drew McIntyre hits him with the Claymore kick. Like, how are you guys that good? How's your timing that good to even pull that off? Perfectly.
It was a work of art. It was very beautiful, well timed, like you said. Again, with two such experienced guys in the ring, you can rely on them to pull something so seamlessly off. Like, it was just flawless. And again, just out of nowhere, kind of like I was expecting, maybe a reversal at that point in time, but not like that, and not the way that it finished. It was just like bada bing, bada boom. I know, say bam right after, and all of a sudden, it caught me off surprised. The right man won, in my opinion, but really, it was a really tough pick to decide who was actually going to win that match. Again, if they're going towards that WrestleMania main event for Drew, they had to make him go over in this one to keep him strong moving forward. But again, there was nothing lost here. If anything, there was a lot gained on Sheamus. We've said it many times about Sheamus, even going back to the Elimination Chamber. He was really dominant during that until, he got eliminated. And again, with a out of the blue kind of type of finish, I believe. So, he looks strong in every match that he's in. The guy has the physique to be a champion.
Yeah.
And I think instead of calling guys back like Goldberg, getting the Undertaker to come out of retirement, Kane coming back from, his job that he does now.
Mayor, Knox County.
Guys like Edge coming back, maybe potentially because the WWE brass doesn't feel confident in guys like Sheamus or, Drew McIntyre 100%. But after displaying that match tonight on Raw, there's no reason why they should not.
On free television, they're taking table bumps. They're throwing each other all over the place. And even when I was watching that match, the only criticism I could have of it really is maybe it was like a couple minutes too long. There's a little small lull in it where it could have been a shorter match and it would have been absolutely perfect. Yep. But overall, it was just it was a work of art. I'm looking at these tweets right here from some of the people on Twitter. At McCrooked Letterly says Drew and Sheamus was fantastic. Yeah, that just was a awesome match. At LOE02, by the looks on Drew McIntyre's face, I feel like he still has compassion for Sheamus. I didn't catch that, but yeah, little type of elements, like nuanced elements of storytelling like that, I think it definitely elevates and makes a story.
I think there's a lot of mutual respect. Not
Yeah.
only, we use the word, off screen or backstage, but obviously with the friendship and relationship that these two have had, even if they didn't have that long, term relationship, if they didn't know each other, if this was their first time, actually going in that ring and actually having a match, and then them pulling off that result or something even close to it,
Yeah.
I think it's just a mutual respect. So you see a lot of raw and real emotion come out of both of them while they're in the ring together, which adds to the element of the match itself. So just a great job by them overall.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We have a another tweet. Where did it go? I just had it. Okay, here we go. At SM Fishman says Drew McIntyre and Sheamus started things great, then things went downhill. Hashtag Wrestling Never Sleeps. Hashtag WWE Raw. So yeah, so I guess some people felt that the show went off course after this. So we can kind of segue into this next segment. We have Naomi with Lana versus Nia Jax with Shayna Baszler. And
did Lana come out for that? I didn't see
Lana
her
came out. She was not in her gear. She had like just a outfit on.
Okay.
But she came out. One of my notes, I said, say what you want about Nia Jax, but she does get heat. People don't like Nia Jax.
She is starting to work like she should be working. Yeah. I think for even with the little comedy bits on the microphone, even little promos with Baszler, they try to be funny. Yeah. It's terribly bad comedy. It's horrible, actually. Please don't ever do it again, because again, the last month, she's been looking really, really dominant, and she's working her style now. I think before she was trying to do too much. She just needed to simplify, everything that she does in the ring. She can take her time. She can methodically, utilize her pace, her toolage, her size to her advantage. And I think in the last few matches that I've actually seen of her, even though, we felt some of the tag matches didn't really have the meaning that it potentially should, or it could have been a throwaway match or a time filler, as we call it. I think every time that she's been out there, though, A, she's looked dominant.
Yeah.
B, there's less and less comedy each and every time. And C, she's working like she should be working. And again, like for those that don't know that, she should not be taking bumps, in my opinion, from someone, half her weight.
Right. Yeah.
As if she were the same size. I know we saw that before, and I was like, hey, what the heck? Red flag here. There's something not right, because she could be so much more dominant, like we've seen her before. I don't know what happened. Maybe someone said, hey, you got to do this now or work on this, but she's taking her focus off, the real deal. And that's what she brings inside the ring, given her size, given her toolage. And of course, alongside with someone like Baszler, she can tag in and out, be in the ring, less than 50% of the time, and be even more effective just by utilizing that new style and that aggression. And that's what I like to see from Nia Jax.
Yeah, and I think when the time comes where she does maybe get body slammed or takes that big bump or something like that, it means that much more. Like, just imagine if every week we saw Andre the Giant get body slammed, or just drop kick and he falls. That moment between him and Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania would be completely ruined. It would just be like another thing that happens. So yeah, I think she is working. Yeah, we would forget about it. So I think the way she is working, just again, her character gets her heat. I honestly was kind of afraid for Naomi, because Nia Jax has that resume. She has that history of just kind of hurting people. She famously punched Becky Lynch in the face, which kind of also started the whole Becky Lynch fad trend. Like, it got her over. Yeah. But so that worked out in her favor. But obviously you don't want to see anyone get hurt. But actually, for a short squash match, I kind of enjoyed this match. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, we were talking about squash matches, and we've been talking about them since we started doing this podcast together.
Yeah.
And I think we mutually agree that there's nothing wrong with a good old squash match, especially if you're putting someone over or trying to build someone up. And again, it just has to be against the right person to actually make it mean something.
Yeah.
Now, Naomi, she means something. She's popular. She's she's accomplished things in her WWE main roster career.
Yeah.
So this squash meant a little bit more than what we've seen her do in the previous weeks, but still, it just great booking. I think great utilization of using Naya, and then like you said, it just means a little bit more with that name in the ring. And personally, I might get hate for this, but the squash matches, keep on bringing them. Just do it right.
Yeah, I think this squash match was done right, only because Naomi, like you said, she's had some good decent runs in the ring. She's not there yet where she's main event top tier. I think she's one of the better athletes, if not the best athlete on the women's roster, outside of anyone not named Bianca Belair. But
I'm not sure if her title reign got cut short because of a few decisions she made without consulting first. With the whole glow in the dark belt,
right? The glow belt and things like that. And
I don't
then
know if she consulted
the women's roster is so stacked.
I think she had backstage heat or something. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the women's roster is so stacked. It's very difficult to kind of stay in that championship mix. I love Naomi's work, but she did get some offense off, which was good. But the believability of the story that Nia Jax just overpowered her. She's just too big, too strong, and too mean. So Naomi can go ahead and she'll go and do something else. And that's a great position for her right now. But obviously, they're trying to continue to keep Nia Jax strong. She's always on television. She's a tag team champion, so they have to further that with her. And then moving on to the next segment, we had the first of the WWE Championship trilogy booking for Monday Night Raw.
Yes, we're an hour into the show now.
Yeah,
everyone's anticipating a WWE Championship match between Lashley and The Miz. And Jared, what the heck happened? What did you think of this?
So this I actually thought was actually pretty funny. Like, I know they're trolling fans here, and Bobby Lashley comes out. He's waiting for The Miz. The Miz music hits. He doesn't come out. Then Miz is talking about he has a stomach issue. He's in the back and he's pretending to be sick. And then Lashley runs to the back and just grabs him and just beats him up a little bit. And then John Morrison has the line like, "Someone help him! Get a towel! Get a towel!" Like, what the heck's that gonna do? Get a towel? But
Morrison had a few one-liners tonight, like the 3M egos.
Yeah. 3M egos.
Laugh.
A call back to the 3MB. So yeah, I mean, what I saw online is that some people did not like this type of, because you're kind of holding the audience hostage. You're waiting for this championship match to come, and you have to keep on watching the show to see if it ever shows up. So they did this a couple times. What do you think about like the whole? No, we're gonna wait. We're give a 10-minute timer. Now it's a 20-minute timer. Now it's a 30-minute timer. What do you think about the whole kind of like dangling the carrot in front of the audience?
I don't like doing that. I mean, before the internet was a huge, tool that people could, figure out things out really quickly. And, things are a lot more accessible to the average fan. We know what they're doing. It's not like back in the golden days, the glory days where, we didn't have that right to know. We believed everything that we heard or were told by the promoter, running the show. So this just seemed, like you said, like a carrot dangling. Obviously, The Miz doing a really good job at playing that chicken shit heel.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid this situation at any means necessary, at any cost. Doing a really good job with it. But still, the fact that we all knew that, they're just prolonging this and prolonging it and prolonging it. Some people can't stay up for the whole show. So when they advertise, hey, we're having a title match at 10 o'clock, some kids out there might go, hey, I'm allowed to stay up until 10:30. That's it. That's all. Now I have to go to bed. Obviously, like you said, some people are going to have mixed reaction of it. I thought it was great. Well done by The Miz. If you're looking at it that perspective, on a character base, very smart to try to delay and avoid and get out of the situation. Bad booking by WWE because, you are now just pissing a lot of people off by doing this. Were you pissed off? Did you like it? Did you mind it?
Well, I mean, it had a decent payoff. I think most people, from what I'm seeing, are happy that Bobby Lashley is the WWE champion and we got to see that. But I feel like for a show, I think that you should want your fans to want to watch the show, not feel compelled to like to
Hold a
trick them.
ransom.
Yeah, don't hold us ransom. Like just give us maybe introduce them, have a main event, and we stay around for the main event. We don't stay around because you keep on dangling the carrot in front of us. That's just really not a great way to book. I think it's kind of like manipulative. Just make the show good. Don't make the show like a just ransom. So that's what I thought about it. But the first time I thought it actually was funny, where he just out in the he just being a jerk, like, oh, I'm so sick, and then to get the towel thing, I thought that was funny. But could have been could a $1 billion corporation with a team of professional writers came up with something creative? I would say so. But this is what they gave us. So it is what it is with that.
And like you said, if they're going to do this, maybe do it once, not
Yeah.
twice. Don't
Do
bring
it
the guy
once.
there 3 times.
Yeah.
That's a lot for, like Shane O'Mac was out there about 4 or 5 times on scene. That's too much for anybody, no matter who it is, whether you're the champion, whether you're the challenger, whether you're, the son of the chairman. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just a lot of TV time, and it's taking away a lot of time and opportunity for other booking that could have been taking place to give other talent, more TV time leading up to WrestleMania.
I get why they did it.
Yeah.
And again, it's lazy. It's like, oh, Shane McMahon. Casual fans know Shane McMahon from the Attitude Era. They recognize Shane McMahon, so let's put more Shane McMahon. And they do this every single time, and it never solves the long-term issue. Is that they need to build new stars, they need to build better characters, and they need to elevate more people, so they don't have to rely on Shane McMahon to pop up. They don't have to rely on Triple H or Stephanie or Vince to show up. They can just have, the new guys. People want to watch the new guys.
Yeah, guys like Ricochet, for example. We're now seeing it with Apollo Crews, but yeah, not having to rely on those guys like Goldberg, Undertaker coming back, Kane, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Having faith and trust and knowing that your new pool of talent can step up and take that role on, kind of like he did, when he let everyone, kind of go off on their own in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
To try to beat their opposition at the time. But again, we've talked about this before. Do you really think that Vince thinks that he's at a war right now or within competition?
Vince is in a whole different lane. Vince is in a whole different mindset. He's thinking billions, 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 billions. He's not thinking of quality of service. He's not thinking of quality of product, because his proof of concept is working. They're having the highest, record-breaking quarters and stuff, record-breaking years. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why think hard when you can just work smart and just give us Shane McMahon every week?
Bad Bunny.
Or Bad Bunny, right? That's going to pop the ratings. It's going to have a bunch of YouTube views. But speaking of Shane McMahon,
Yes.
The next segment, Braun Strowman just comes out. And speaking of which, I don't like his new getup. Like, he looks like just like a G.I. Joe, Braun Strowman. Like, where did that even come from? He's
Corporal Kirshner.
Yeah. He just looks like he's in the military or something. I like Braun Strowman. I just really dislike his booking. I dislike his character. They have him have this crybaby promo is, Shane McMahon and Adam Pearce have it out for me, and they don't like me, and they didn't put me in the elimination chamber. And I'm watching this giant 6'8", 350-pound just baby cry about how he's not getting opportunities and stuff. So then Shane McMahon comes out, and I think that's the first time we saw Shane McMahon in the show.
Yeah, I think so.
Shane comes out, and he's saying that he's taking MBA courses, and he's taking the courses on what do you call it, management of team management or something to that effect. Conflict management, yeah. So the bright idea they had was they're gonna have the tag team champions, the Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, versus Braun Strowman and his mystery opponent, who ended up being Adam Pearce, which was a bit weird for me because it seemed like you were punishing Adam Pearce, the babyface official role. Like, it didn't do anything for Braun. So that was a little bit weird of the booking, in my opinion. After that, they go ahead and they have this match. They have the Hurt Business and against Braun Strowman and Adam Pearce. And, the Hurt Business is selling from Braun does that circular thing where he does like the bumps, and he bumps around. Shelton and Cedric are bumping for him. The Braun goes for his finish, the power slam. And then Shane
Yes.
jumps on the ropes. He tells him to tag in Adam Pearce for some reason. I don't know why. So he tags in Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce gets put in like a small package or a reversal pin, and the team loses. What was that?
Very. I was going to ask you. So, the fact that you're asking me, and I'm going to be the one giving you the answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is correct, but I believe the reason why he jumped on the apron was to, like you said, you were mentioning teamwork. So communication was very important for Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman to work on. So potentially giving him the weakest link or weakest potential possible partner in this match being Adam Pearce. Strowman could have done this by himself.
Like we did with what he did with Nicholas a couple years ago at WrestleMania. He beat Sheamus and Cesaro.
Yeah, exactly. He beat the Bar.
Yeah.
A much more qualified tag team and much more accomplished tag team than the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
No offense to the Hurt Business.
Yeah. They just haven't been around long enough. Yeah.
As a whole, it's really cool.
Mhm.
But like I said, with Braun Strowman, he's in this gray area right now where I don't like it. I never do like gray areas with characters. There's only a couple of guys that can get away with it. Austin being the top one, of course.
Yeah.
Being that in-betweener or tweener type of anti-hero badass kind of guy. But like you said, yeah, Braun, again, part of my language, they brought him out, they made him look like a bitch.
Yeah.
Crying and whining about something that he had no control over, and something, with a man that size, that stature, his strength, he realistically, the guy can pretty much do anything he wants when he wants to do it, right?
Yeah.
So instead of whining and crying about it, why wouldn't he just come out, grab somebody by their scrawny little neck and break him in half and then make it happen?
Yeah, is this not the same character who flipped cars over and pulled trucks and like that that happened in recent memory, did it not? So why is he complaining and crying about this stuff? It's not congruent at all. I just don't understand with the look and the skills that he has, why is he not like, for example, if he was getting booked the way Bobby Lashley is getting booked right now,
fire.
Could Braun Strowman not be a superstar in this industry?
They used to book him like that.
Yeah.
And then they stopped for some reason.
He kept on taking losses. He lost to Roman, he lost to Seth, and it completely killed him. I think he lost to Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
You can't take those type of guys. You can't take all those losses. It really kills you. It kills your momentum. It kills your ability to draw. Imagine Floyd Mayweather losing 5 times in a row. We wouldn't even be thinking about him.
No.
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't be making multi-million, $100 million fight deals. If he had even one loss on his record. So, people don't remember, or people seem to forget that, even though there's no ranking system, we remember the big wins and losses.
Of course.
Like I said, Braun Strowman, he's been on the wrong end of a few encounters in the last few months, and it's not looking good. It hasn't been good. Obviously, he was hurt, I believe. He was out for some time, came back and just spinning in the mud. And it's like they don't really know what to do with him. So it kind of looks like, you mentioned this before, but it kind of looks like maybe they're building animosity between him and Shane McMahon to maybe put WrestleMania.
I know they're doing it again. I hate Shane McMahon. I was
gonna say, you don't seem thrilled about that idea.
I hate Shane McMahon so much. I hate him. I know he's a good performer, but I've said this on other episodes. The booking of Shane McMahon is absolutely ridiculous. He's the boss's son. He shouldn't be. Shane McMahon has beaten the Miz, and Miz is the WWE champion. So that they're gonna move towards Shane McMahon versus
the best in the world.
He's the best in the world. Yes, he won he went to Saudi Arabia and won the cup.
Best in the world.
Yes.
So why wouldn't he be on WrestleMania?
Yeah. And so I know they're building to that. We're gonna see we're gonna see Shane versus Braun Strowman.
Bring back Shawn Michaels instead. I don't care. No.
Please bring back bald Shawn Michaels, please. Dad Michaels.
No, make him wear the wig.
Yeah, he's Michael Shawn Hickenbottom now. He's not even Shawn Michaels anymore.
No, that name doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's Hickenbottom.
It's definitely Hickenbottom.
But yeah, Braun Strowman, again, like you said, they got to figure something out better. Obviously, they are going with that route to Shane McMahon at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think it's over for Braun though.
Because bad booking again, it prevents someone like Braun Strowman with a lot of potential, a lot of size. We've seen it in the past again.
Yeah.
From moving forward, from gaining any momentum, rebuilding himself back up. It just looks bad on everybody's end.
I think it's over for him. I feel that Vince has his guys that he wants to push. It's gonna be Roman. It's gonna be Drew.
You can only do that for so long again, right? Though, like you only got so many years on those guys, and then by the next time, you have to have guys ready to step up and take their guys' position.
Right.
Like when they first started pushing Roman, he was not ready yet. They just forced it.
Yeah, you know what's a great analogy, actually? You know what Braun Strowman is? Braun Strowman is just a big, giant Dolph Ziggler. Guy with a lot of potential, guy with a great look, guy with great skills, great on the mics, but for some reason, he just can't get the brass ring.
No, they both held world titles.
Yep.
Not for very long. They've never had any run with it. It's just like, okay, you're going to pass the belt off.
Could be Hall of Famers, probably won't be Hall of Famers.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because it's a shame. Because even with Ziggler,
I love Dolph Ziggler.
Athlete compared to Shawn Michaels, like we mentioned his name earlier, someone that's compared to that type of athlete is just phenomenal in any way, shape, or form, especially when it comes to his in-ring. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, Braun is now just a giant Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, unfortunately. But moving along, we have the next match. We have Elias versus he comes out with Jackson Riker.
Yeah.
And versus Damian Priest and Bad Bunny.
Still can't get over Bad Bunny being there with Damian Priest.
Yeah.
I know why he's there, but I just.
Yeah, I get it. They want to milk this Bad Bunny thing for as long as possible. He's going to get great views. He's one of the most popular performers in the world currently. So they're going to want him on television every single week. But yeah, yep. Here comes the money. But I think this is at the expense of Damian Priest. I'm kind of bored with Damian Priest. This match was boring. I seen people on Twitter like this match is too long. When is it going to end? So I think, has this been hurting Damian Priest?
Huge.
Yeah.
When he was in NXT, the guy was a monster.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing his thing. He was a lot bigger. Obviously, the guys on the main roster are more, closer to his size, but he's still a really big guy. He still can do things in that ring that a lot of people his size can't do.
Yeah.
He was very dominant in NXT until he started to hook up with Leon Ruff. And now they kind of just passed that gig over to Bad Bunny. And I get why Bad Bunny's there. Like you said, the recognition, the popularity, the new market, a lot of new exposure, potentially a lot of new fans coming over and checking out why is Bad Bunny on WWE programming? Why is Bad Bunny on Saturday Night Live with the 24/7 championship belt?
Yeah.
They're obviously going to check it out. Is it a long-term thing? No, it's very similar to the Big Show situation with AEW. It's a short fuse that's going to light very, very hot, but not for very, very long. And unfortunately, the only way to really turn Priest around, and I mentioned on the last episode that we did.
I loved your idea. I love that idea.
Was to just to hold up Bad Bunny's arm after he maybe wins the 20 or retains the 24/7 championship, and just decks him. Makes him do the backflip clothesline bump, pins him 1, 2, 3 for the 24/7 championship, and just leaves Bad Bunny like roadkill. I
can see that being a meme. I can see that being on the New York Times or something. That will be all over the internet, and it'll give Damian Priest a name. But right now, I know Damian Priest is a hell of an athlete. I love like his kicks. He's like tall, but he can like kick and he can strike, and he's got the nice gimmick. He's got a great look, but I'm so bored of this guy. And this match he had with Elias just didn't do him any favors. Elias, another guy that kind of has been lost in the sauce, had a lot of great potential, but now just kind of a guy just you use to kind of get other people over.
I like that he's with Jackson Riker now. Kind of gives him a little bit of an option B if the singles one still doesn't continue to work out for him, or if they can't find anything for him to really do as a single competitor, they can pair him up with a guy like Jackson Riker because they have a similar look. Jackson Riker, again, someone that they don't really use. He wasn't that stable.
Forgotten Sons.
Forgotten Sons, which I think had a really great idea.
Yeah.
It could have been something a lot more than what it was if the right guys were in it. But Riker has the size. He looks good with Elias. Elias, I think, feeds off of somebody next to him, compared to just being out there by themselves. I love the fact that he tried to play the guitar again tonight and tried to get collaborate with Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
And the response was perfect. But again, unfortunately, Damian Priest being stuck in this situation means that he's going to be held down. He's going to be a lackey. He's going to be potentially a joke.
Yeah.
When he could be something so much more. And again, like I said, if he just clocks Bad Bunny one of these times with a big old clothesline,
that would be phenomenal.
I think that sets him right up to the top of the heel list.
So if you could do it all over, who would you ideally pair Bad Bunny with? If you had to pair him with somebody, who would you pair him with?
I would have had him gone to NXT because you're on Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
You're against AEW and you're losing in the ratings if you're thinking about that. But I would have had him gone to NXT, build up that brand, and had him pair up with someone like Leon Ruff. You kind of get the two small underdog guys, they've kind of done stuff with Leon where it's a little bit comical. You could throw Bad Bunny into that bit maybe, or a segment or a program with him. They're trying to help each other out. Potentially because Leon Ruff is a lot smaller than Priest. If the two were ever to, butt heads or disagree on something, or Leon Ruff was getting jealous of all the popularity and publicity that Bad Bunny was getting, Leon then could turn on Bad Bunny, and then you'd have like a realistic even matchup.
Right.
Where if Priest now clocks Bad Bunny and they set up this weird environment where they have to, match up or fight each other, is it really believable?
Ideally, I would like to just see him like at the end of WrestleMania, the Monday after WrestleMania, when Bundy's done with this little run, just clock him, clothesline from hell, and then we just never see Bad Bunny again. I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to see him every week. It's nice for a one-off, but it's too much Bad Bunny, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and also make sure you join our conversation on Twitter, #WrestlingNeverSleeps. What should WWE do with Bad Bunny? So
I think we kill the wabbit because it's wabbit hunting season.
Kill the wabbit. Wabbit mania.
We should get him on the Funhouse.
The Funhouse,
rabbit over there, don't they?
Right. Speaking of the Funhouse, Randy Orton promo. You like my segue, don't you? You like my segue?
Yes, that was beautiful.
Segue skills on 1,000 trillion. Speaking of the Funhouse, we have Randy Orton cuts a promo. He's with Caleb Braxton, and she's like, "Hey, Randy, how do you feel about what's going on lately?" And then it cuts to a segment, a video package of what's been going on with the past couple of weeks. As we know, Randy Orton, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, he threw up that motor oil somehow out of his. He might have to get that checked out. He should probably get that checked out. But
I would be getting that checked out. That seems a little bit abnormal.
Right.
I've never personally thrown up that much vial or motor oil or
whatever the hell that was. Yeah,
whatever it is, Valvoline,
Coca-Cola, whatever the hell it was. But he doesn't have insurance, so he might be an issue getting.
He didn't go with Geico.
Yeah. So they cut to this package, and then Alexa Bliss pops up on the screen. She's in like the satanic, what's it called? The pentagram, something. What is it? Yeah, whatever it's called. That satanic triangle star. Yeah. Thing. And she has a box, and she's like, "You're gonna pay for everything that you ever done, and we're gonna get you our revenge." And then there's a figure that shows up on screen. He pulls back his hood, and it's Randy Orton, but it's a possessed doppelganger of Randy Orton. And he's saying that, "Oh, I'm going to get you, Randy Orton, and you're gonna pay, Randy Orton." So then Randy Orton starts coughing up again, and then he leaves the scene. So yeah, we have more devil worship, satanic shenanigans on a wrestling TV show. Your thoughts?
I like Randy Orton. I
do
like
too.
pretty much everything he does.
Yeah.
I think, no matter what situation he's in, he somehow makes it work and has the ability to make it work, if not pretty damn close, each and every time he does something. This, though, I know it's been the most slow-burning feud in WWE in quite some time. This lasted years.
Yeah.
Going back to a lot of different programs with these two guys. And when you do so much in that short period of time, even though it has been a few years, it's not a long time in the world of wrestling. These are things that are still fresh in my mind, probably your mind as well, Jared, and a lot of the listeners out there and a lot of fans out there. They still remember this fairly fresh.
Yeah.
So you run out of ideas, I think, really quickly. And unfortunately, I think no matter who's running this storyline, no matter who's dictating it, or how they're laying it out, whether it be an idea from Bray, because I know he has a lot of control over this whole situation backstage, but it's either Bray or WWE Creative have now shotgun this whole thing, even though it feels like a slow burning storyline. They're kind of running out of ideas, and this is the best what they've now come up with. We've seen the creatures on the mat at the one WrestleMania where they had. We've seen the house getting with Sister Abigail going back all that way. We know with Randy Orton being part of the Wyatt family, the family funhouse stuff. We've just seen everything. So what else can they really do? And now we're seeing this black vial, this black whatever it is coming from Randy Orton. We've seen the Fiend be burned alive. How does he come back from that? A lot of questions.
And that's the problem with this. That's another issue with this storyline. It's like, okay, so we've seen a guy get burned alive. We've seen Alexa Bliss shapeshift and go from the goddess to the Fiend. We've seen Randy Orton talk to a possessed version of himself. So how does this end in a wrestling match? How could it possibly end it? Like, the only way it can end is like a horror film. Like, is someone going to get their head cut off or something? Like, how does this, where does this go? You can't bring it back into the, you can't bring it back into the confines of wrestling because it's beyond that. This is like a supernatural event.
Has to be like a cinematic type of feud ending match, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing
a screen of Randy Orton in hell fighting the Fiend.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a Firefly Funhouse with Randy Orton because I think it'd be interesting. But if they're gonna have, if we're moving out of this pandemic era and they're gonna have fans at Mania, then I would assume that Randy Orton would want to have a match. No,
I think
like
Randy
Orton
needs to have a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
and I like the Firefly Funhouse idea match, like that whole match.
Yeah,
I like to see something a little bit different. I'm not sure if they just did this recently or if I saw someone do this recently, but maybe like an Inferno. I think we just saw an Inferno.
But they did an Inferno. Yeah, they did an Inferno match. So they've right. Literally done everything. So if this ends up being like, okay, now they're gonna have a wrestling match, it just doesn't make any sense.
Cell, really?
It's going past that. Like, this is going way too far. He saw himself on the screen.
Inferno Hell in a Cell.
An Inferno Firefly elimination Hell in a Cell. Loser leaves town and gets his hair shaved off. Scaffolding. Yeah, that's where it's going.
But, yeah, like I said, they've just done so many things in this long progressed storyline where they're now running out of ideas. How do you end it? What do you go from here? What do you do with this black file? How do you bring back the Fiend? And how do you take away the Fiend for good if he comes back from being burned alive?
It's weird. And Alexa, how do you bring back Alexa Bliss back to like her where she's just doing regular wrestling matches? Like her
Bound,
and I've said this in the past. The only way this makes sense is if they're just using this to show other networks and show Hollywood producers and stuff that, hey, our performers can do other stuff. They could be spooky. They could be funny. Movies. That's the only way. This is for WWE studios. This can't be for like wrestling fans. It can't be. This is just auditions right now at this point.
I'm a pro wrestling fan, and nothing that I've seen in the programs or any of the brands other than NXT.
Yeah.
It's been really wrestling based.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that NXT just has no personality to it whatsoever right now.
Yeah.
Other than, key names, but we're not talking about NXT. We're rocking Raw tonight.
Yeah.
I'm still excited about the show, even though there was those few spots on the show where,
Oh, yeah,
it
for
really
sure.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, this was one of them, in my opinion. It didn't really work out probably the way that they expected it to,
Yeah.
but it was still interesting. It still develops the storyline. It still pushes potentially to having, these two fight again or line up again at another WrestleMania, despite the first one maybe not being up to par. Would you like to see them match up again at WrestleMania? Orton and the Fiend, or Orton and Wyatt, depending on who shows up.
This, like, again, I say it every week, the spooky stuff is not for me. I just kind of think that it's Randy Orton saying, okay, I'm pushing this age, and maybe I should start moving to where John Cena and Batista and The Rock have, and The Miz have had success in Hollywood. So let me just get this spooky stuff out the way so I can have something for my reel. So I think that's where it's going. What do you guys think? Let us know. Use the hashtag WrestlingNeverSleeps and talk about the Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Alexa Bliss ongoing saga. It's not for me, but I'm sure some of you guys have enjoyed it.
Knowing WWE, they'll have them do all this stuff and then probably, have them play the role in the Marine 8.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, just super random. So moving on, we had the second segment. I won't spend too much time on this, but we have the number 2 match of Miz and Bobby Lashley. Miz just takes the belt and just runs off. And
Smart
he just,
booking.
Lashley just stands there like, what the heck? And that was it. He gets counted out. Then we have, after that, we have Charlotte Flair come out and she cuts a promo. And she's talking about that when she came back from injury, she just wanted to be a good teammate for Asuka, and she wanted to kick ass with someone that she respects. But she wants Asuka's WWE Raw Women's title. And when she gets back from that injury, which was brutal, by the way, I saw the replay I didn't know she actually got her tooth knocked out of her freaking mouth. But Charlotte Flair talks about how she wants to challenge Asuka at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship. And this confused me a little bit because I was under the impression that they were trying to present Charlotte as a face, but this promo was a bit heelish. Essentially, she's saying that she wants to turn on her good friend and take her title. I mean, is she not?
It seemed like she was trying to validate why she was going after her friend. It was like a mutual respect thing. The two best women to duke it out one more time for the championship at WrestleMania.
Yeah. But how you explained it, that's the way a babyface would explain it. It wasn't really presented like that to me,
Yeah,
like the way you presented it made
maybe
sense.
That's what she was trying to do, but it didn't. Yeah, like
didn't translate.
It didn't play out like that.
Yeah.
If you're an average fan listening,
yeah,
and you're not really understanding what she's trying to say, you're gonna take it like, hey, she's tired of being Asuka's friend. She's getting greedy because the way she delivered her promo and saying how and why she wanted the championship title match. She did fight a heel though right after, like she matched up with Baszler right after, so it kind of leaves you hanging. She's in a tough spot, I think, right now too, because she's just done so much.
Yeah, so fast.
And so fast. And,
yeah.
She just did that amazing promo, with her dad not too long ago, and that really blew me away. That really made me tell that she's still got that fire inside of her as an athlete, as a performer. She likes to be there where she's at.
That's what they're gonna do.
What?
That's what they're gonna do. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll talk in a second.
By all means, cut me out. Yeah, don't do it.
Asuka has to come back with Ric Flair.
You think so?
It makes sense. It gives Asuka some type of credibility. It ties in the Ric Flair thing as well. And we need some type of heel face dynamic. And then Asuka's not that great on the microphone as well. So Ric Flair is one of the best talkers ever. That helps Asuka. Picture Asuka being with the dirtiest player in the game, just given that she's already good. And then Ric Flair and his walkaway promo from last week, he did say he wants to elevate the women. All he wants to do is help the women. So if you put Asuka or Ric Flair, this ties this whole thing in, and it makes a little bit different story from their match they had at WrestleMania. I think that was 34.
Yes.
Book it, Vince.
I can kind of see
I want
that
to see
too,
it.
because, especially if Asuka came back pretending to be mutual, like that mutual respect between the two of them.
Yeah.
If Asuka came back and kind of, when Austin shook hands with the McMahon, he finally turned heel and they finally aligned. You can kind of work it like that, where Asuka's pretending to be, that baby face, that fighting and defending champion, so prideful, and then all of a sudden, boom, Nature Boy costs, his daughter the match of her career at WrestleMania, then for the championship again. Asuka gets to redeem herself. And then again, like you said, it ties in Ric Flair, everything they were doing before the whole Lacey Evans, having to leave and take care of her personal stuff.
Yeah.
And, you bring Flair back onto TV after being shushed away by his daughter.
Bring him back with Asuka.
You don't tell me. I leave on my own terms. I'm the Nature Boy. I style, I profile. You don't tell me, little one. So respect your dad, respect your elder, respect the one that gave you this opportunity to even be as good as you are.
Right.
And I'm going to help Asuka win the championship, and something like that could play out. That'd be cool.
I would love that. And also, like, Asuka's pretty funny too. So even having Asuka come out with the robe and doing like the strut, and like maybe she does the figure four,
goofy, like silly.
Yeah,
she kind of has that Japanese humor and like her comedy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
she perceives comic, situations a little bit different than most people do, and it makes me laugh every time she comes out and tries.
I love her. I love Asuka.
Yeah.
They have a type that they're looking for, and she's not great on the mic. So I think that would be a nice little WrestleMania story. Just Asuka and Ric Flair versus Charlotte. Gives Rick something to do, gives Asuka a mouthpiece, which we saw Bobby Lashley getting a mouthpiece has really elevated his game. So,
what if you make Nature Boy the special guest referee in that match?
Oh man, I'm not sure if he can go. I don't think he's in shape to do that.
For the ref?
Yeah, I doubt he's in shape to do that. I really doubt he's in shape to do that. Being a ref's a lot of work.
That's true.
There's a lot of work. He's got to be in position and stuff. Yeah,
I've done it briefly, but that's true. I forget how old he actually is.
He's like, he just turned 72 years old. That's Ref's getting there too.
120, but hey.
120. Woo! What do you guys think about that? Ric Flair and Asuka versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. Not as a triple threat. I meant like Ric Flair in the corner.
Ric Flair
in the corner
versus Charlotte.
Right, there you go. But the triple that would be interesting too. For the Raw Women's title.
You might win. With their booking as of late. Everyone wins the championship now.
To one up John Cena for World Heavyweight Championships. We have one more. So next up after that, we had Charlotte versus Shayna Baszler had a match. How did that end? That ended with was that like a Smaz? I think it was a Smaz ending, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was a botch interference kind of thing, but not really. It was like a clean finish.
Yeah.
But I think Charlotte was in trouble. She made her comeback. Something did happen near the end though with Jax, I believe.
Yeah, it's some type of Smaz finish, I believe. Yeah.
Cost Baszler a distraction or a second loss or something like that. And then Charlotte hit the little flip move that she does.
Oh yeah, she beat her with natural selection.
Natural
selection. Yeah, you're right.
Which again was a surprising finish for me. I didn't think she was going to get her there. Normally that's like a prelude to the figure eight.
Yeah,
she'll hit that, they'll kick out, and then she sets up the finish itself. But rarely has she beaten anybody with that move in a long time.
Yeah, it's like her specialty move. And it was also surprising because Shayna Baszler has a big tag team match tomorrow on Wednesday on NXT. They're going to they have an NXT championship match.
Raquel and Kai.
Yeah, right. So surprising booking, but it's not like the tag team titles mean anything. The women's tag, they don't mean much. So it's like whatever. We'll forget in 2 days. Next up, we had a.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, right, huh? Next up, we had a fun little match, Lucha House Party with Riddle versus Retribution. Fun match with athleticism. What do you think about this match? I won't spend too much time on it.
No, I'm just going to quickly say that, it's just a prelude to what was going to happen right after. I don't think this match was ever designed to be a match. I think it was just a setup for, Ali to, show his group who's been slacking or not up to his own standards of being in Retribution, how it's done properly.
Yeah.
And, this was basically just a setup, a gimme, a waste, basically just to pass it over to Ali and Riddle, which they indeed did have their one-on-one. I was surprised to get on the finish, though, again, with Lucha beating Retribution so quick. I know Retribution has been on a downslide since they basically formed. But again, with two smaller guys like Lucha just coming in after Riddle was thrown out of the ring, dominating with the tag team moves, the tandem, and then just getting that quick 1-2-3. But again, we figured out why that was going on. We figured out why that took place.
Yeah.
Again, it was a prelude to
just a setup,
having that one-on-one match.
So they're basically this is related but not related, but it is related. So Ricochet had like this whole losing streak against basically all Retribution. He would come out every week and just lose to Retribution. And now Retribution, they just get booked like complete losers as well. So Ricochet is like the losers of the losers. Like, damn, they really like Vince just has no faith in this man. Like, I really like Ricochet. I really think he could be. I know Paul Heyman was big on him when he was the producer, the top booker for Raw, I think last year.
Yep.
But wow, Ricochet is super talented, and that's what that's how they're perceiving him. Like he's the loser of the losers. That's crazy to me. Because I really like Ricochet, but getting back on topic, it was just basically a setup for the Riddle versus Ali match. One thing I wrote was I really hope I want to see Riddle with some shoes on. I'm just really afraid for him to like get injured because I know Rusev had that injury a couple years ago. He flipped over. Rusev didn't used to wear shoes, and that's why he started wearing boots because he broke his ankle really bad just doing a flip. So Riddle's so athletic and he does flips, he does dives and stuff. He's got to be careful out there for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely I'm surprised actually that I know in MMA obviously that they have commissions and stuff like that. Regulations do apply and like certain equipment can and cannot be worn during a real fight, like within MMA sanctioned rules. And they used to be able to wear shoes and then now they're not, obviously. So him coming from that background, he probably feels just a lot more comfortable not wearing the shoes or the boots because for so many years, he didn't have to and he never did. And he did so well as an MMA fighter. I believe his record, by the time he actually retired and transitioned over, I think it was only 7-1-1.
Yeah.
So 7 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, and maybe a 1-no contest because of his extracurricular activities outside of the sports entertainment world. But he's so used to not wearing shoes that he probably feels so more comfortable not in boots and shoes, like I was saying.
Right.
Where, if he did have the shoes on or the boots on, he's probably more likely to injure himself in that manner than not having them on.
I just kind of like, because I'm rooting for him, I just kind of cringe like every time he does some type of goes to the top ropes or does a dive outside or does a flip over the ropes. I'm like, because he's getting pushed. He's the United States champion now. You don't want to get injured now. Knock on wood. You don't want to get injured now.
It's like me as a kid, just to go off topic for 2 seconds here.
Yeah.
Every time that I'd see someone run on pavement or the sidewalk in bare feet, all I could picture in my head and that cringe feeling again was them stubbing their toe.
Yeah, right.
Like it's
right. Like, oh, that would suck.
That would suck. Definitely.
Take a toe on the curb or something. But cool match. Really sick finish. I don't know. I've never seen that finish before. I've never seen that move before. Whatever the heck they were doing, it looked very dangerous.
I don't even know what he did. It
very dangerous.
Like he was going to go for a Spanish fly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he ended up on his knees, and his knees, like, I don't even know. I was hoping that you could explain it to me. Maybe, the listeners could tweet in.
It was like a Hurricane Rana Meteora something. That's what it looked like. It just looked sick.
Like a can opener mixed with I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It blew my mind. I'm not going to lie. I was really confused on what actually I witnessed.
And that's why I'm high on Ali. That was my pick for the Royal Rumble to win. That's what I would like to see, but it didn't happen. Ali's talented.
He's very talented and like just a bad booking as of
Yeah.
late. But I like now seeing him take control of his group. If they're
Yeah.
going to keep him in this group with Retribution, he's going to have, lackeys essentially,
Mm-hmm.
doing his bidding for most of the time. And then, him having to set the example. I like that. He's now
Yeah.
taking responsibility for the lack of leadership that he's now proven. It shows that it makes him more real, that he actually cares about this group. And he's not just going out there and losing and losing and losing and losing like they have been. He's
Yeah.
now getting really emotional. We've seen in the last couple of weeks to the point where this week he said, enough is enough. It's time for a change. And he set the example against Riddle.
Yeah, I like
So they'll
that. I
do-
think Ali could be a guy that is around that United States. The mid card could be really good at WWE. Like I know John Morrison just got injured, but he had a great match with Riddle. Now Ali is had a pretty decent match with Riddle with a nice finish. Actually, Riddle is a common denominator in a lot of these great matches that we're seeing in the mid card. He's doing his thing, and I was not a fan of him like 2 weeks ago. I was
No,
not.
you were not.
You were
He
like,
grew
no,
on
this
me
guy's
really
good.
quickly.
He grew on me very, very quickly. I gotta give him credit for that, bro. I can even deal with the bro gimmick
Bro.
because he's doing his thing. Shout out to Matt Riddle or Riddle.
Riddle. Yeah, what's his moniker now? The King of Bros and then the something Stelling.
And it seems like he has a different finishing maneuver finished a new special move with the bro on it, because now it said on the screen his finisher was the bro mission. He's the bro
Mission,
sleep.
the Bro Derek.
Bro Derek. He's
And
got a
then
bunch of
something
different
else.
finishers. Yeah, he's got a different bro variations and stuff.
I'm waiting for the Bro Ski.
Yeah, he's
Something very simple. I'm surprised there's no Bro Ski or
he's taking Zack Ryder's gimmick. So then we finally got to the main event. And we had The Miz versus Lashley finally for the WWE Championship. And Miz gets into the ring. He tries to take the belt and run again, but Shane O'Mac comes out. Here comes the money. And he says, hey, you're not going anywhere because this match is now a lumberjack match. And Bobby Lashley gets the win. He taps him out with the Hurt Lock. Pretty much just weighs lace on the Miz. Miz had no chance. Just got his ass whooped. He was trying to run the entire time. Couldn't go anywhere. Bobby Lashley wins the WWE Championships. Congratulations to Bobby Lashley. You earned it. You deserve it. One thing that would confuse me, maybe this is me nitpicking at the booking, was that the lumberjacks were like heels and faces. Did you catch that too? Yeah, the lumberjacks were heels and faces. So it was like, why would anyone care to keep Miz in the ring? Like, what does it matter to anybody really? It would be more like, makes more sense if the babyface were like, yeah, Miz needs to get his and get him in the ring. But the heels were there too, like to make sure Bobby Lashley wins. I don't. Did you catch that too?
I caught that too, and I questioned it. I even had it written down. Why are the faces and heels mingling? Like everyone just hates the Miz and wants him gone.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the Miz because again, he had literally Morrison was out there.
Yeah.
But he was like the only one backing the Miz on this. Everyone seemed like want him gone, not have the championship belt because again, maybe just how he is in the locker room. I know this is out of storyline and everything like that, but legitimately, the guy got kicked out of the dressing room when he first came to WWE because of his attitude and the way he perceived himself and carried himself in the back. And maybe some of those guys feel that maybe he is moved on. He's not dedicating himself to, pro wrestling or sports entertainment or the WWE 100% now because he has Miz and Mrs. He's got his family. He's got his wife. He's got everything else going on behind the scenes. But again, I think he did a really good job with this.
Yeah.
I think he was the guy to do it, to make it happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, again, it took 3 tries. Third time's always the charm, most of the time. But the way that this finally ended, the way that he took his bumps, the way that he made Lashley look.
Got him over.
It got him over. It set him up as the champion. It got the good pop and reaction, I think. WWE wanted this. Yeah. If it was someone other than The Miz, they probably wouldn't have got the same reaction because again,
Yeah, could you imagine if it was like Drew McIntyre or something?
And people love to see the Miz get beat up like this.
Yeah.
And he does it so well. He's so professional with it. And he doesn't mind helping somebody else, elevate their career. And we saw that.
Yeah,
he did
what's best for business. And actually, we didn't speak about this. He in one of like the little backstage promos with Shane McMahon and Adam Pearce, he kind of cut like a babyface promo when he was like, "Hey, look, I do whatever you guys ask of me. I do international calls at 6 a.m. I'm always here. You can rely on me to host a show. You can rely on me to host a reality show. I'm the WWE champion." It's like, yeah, this guy does work hard. Like he does his thing. He's a professional. You don't really hear bad stuff about him outside of, kayfabe. People like hate him, but yeah, it kind of puts sympathy on him because he does a lot.
It did, and like you said, it kind of came off babyface, but at the same time, it came off like a real shoot.
Yeah,
it seemed like he was being genuine and real. I think he's maybe
there's truth to it.
His career.
Yeah.
What was that? Sorry.
There's truth to it.
I think there was a lot of truth to what he said and how he actually feels. With his involvement in the sports entertainment world, especially from him coming from Mad TV, or not the real world, not Mad TV, but the real world. Reality TV.
Yeah.
And being that comedy, goofy, kind of annoying guy that nobody wanted on the set, to coming into the entertainment world of sports entertainment.
He paid his dues.
And paid his dues. Maybe not at first, like I said, he was kicked out of the dressing room for, certain antics and behavior and mindset. But after he educated himself and he smartened up and people smartened him up to the business, look at him. How can you not deny anything that he said, in that promo with Shane McMahon? So it basically was a shoot, but he just took it, utilized it in this situation, to make this match mean that much more, which it definitely did.
Yeah. He is the Miz, and he is awesome. And yeah, Bobby Lashley, I think well-deserved. I think this is great because it sets up, like we talked about earlier, different things. It's probably going to be Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. We probably won't get Brock Lesnar this year. Maybe it's something that's SummerSlam-ish, possibly.
That'd be cool.
But a lot of questions to be asked. If it push comes to shove, if Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre end up meeting at WrestleMania, who do you think should win that? Drew?
Yeah. I think Drew should get the title back, especially if they're going to start having people back in the stadiums.
Yeah.
They start going to more of that live audience.
Yeah.
Give the man his fair chance. Or you can do a babyface chase where Lashley actually wins at WrestleMania. And, by Survivor Series, they rematch again. And, all the way up until that point, Drew is chasing.
Yeah.
Finally gets that shot again, that rematch that he never fairly got.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see what they do. Personally, I'd like to see Drew win, hang on to that belt for another full year.
Yeah.
Don't let him lose it. Don't do this quick hot potato stuff with the title. Don't use somebody like The Miz to just be a transition guy, to give it to somebody like Lashley. Make it mean much more. Tonight, maybe an exception because of the environment and the atmosphere and the vibe that The Miz was helping, assisting to the situation. He played it off really, really well. But you can't do that again to Drew McIntyre. Otherwise, you're just going to bury him like you've done the rest and so many in the past. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a tough situation now that WWE has booked themselves in because you're creating a situation where I don't think anyone can be happy. I mean, for one, you have The Miz, who, like he said in his promo, he has been here for 16 years. He does whatever anyone asks. He always delivers whatever you ask from him. He's very talented. He does everything, and he got a 2-week title reign. So you have that. I think Bobby Lashley should win at WrestleMania, but then it's kind of like slapping Drew McIntyre in the face. Like, man, I carried the company during a pandemic. I'm showing up at the PC, empty Raw, fighting in front of nobody. He's done a phenomenal job. So you have to kind of reward him for being the great performer he is. And he had a great match tonight too. So you have to reward him for that. And at the same time, there's Bobby Lashley. Like, well, are we really going to give Bobby Lashley after 17 years? Are we really going to give him a 6-week reign to just give back the title that Drew had 2 weeks ago anyway? Like, what? So it's a tough situation to be in, but I think overall us fans are going to be extremely entertained over the next 6 weeks. And I really expect a great WrestleMania, and I'm excited for it this year.
Well, to be honest, I'm going back to what you're saying about, you know, the lack of reign from Lashley. If they do give it back to Drew, if you really think about it, other than Brock,
Yeah.
name a big guy. Even though Vince is notorious for loving the giant guys, right? The big size, the big frame, the 6'6", you know, 320 pounds, those types of guys. Name a guy other than, you know, obviously Hulk Hogan, or Brock.
Yeah.
He's really held on to the world championship and is that stature, that size of a Lashley, of a Taker, of a Kane.
But even Taker didn't have a lot of. Taker's only had like 3 reigns.
Exactly, and not very long for any of those reigns. Kane has only had 2 or 3, and not very long for any of those reigns. You know, other than maybe Yokozuna, I can't really think of a big man's man that has really had a good, solid run, especially as a heel. Just doesn't happen in WWE.
Yeah.
Even though they make great challengers for the baby faces, but when it comes to a heel being that champion,
I can't really think of one.
The chicken shit good heel, and he makes it work better for the company.
Yeah, I could have dealt with the Miz reign for a couple of weeks. I like this work tonight. I like this work.
I know it's great. Everything that he's been doing for the last little while, especially when him and Morrison are side by side, they just feed off each other so well, and that chemistry is great. And they can play that bantering little chicken shit.
Correct.
You know, it's great.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up here. We're gonna be back on Thursday night. Make sure you guys follow us on social media. I am at Jared Never Sleeps. You are at Real Adam
Anthony. Real Adam Anthony. And again, we'll record Wednesday night, release Thursday morning, not Thursday night.
Right. So make sure you follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/WrestlingNeverSleeps, on Instagram.com/WrestlingNeverSleeps, and Twitter at WNS_TV. If you guys like our content, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified when we drop new videos, which is at least 3 or 4 times a week. For my co-host, I am Jared Never Sleeps. Thanks for watching. We will see you Thursday, and it's still real to me, damn it. Good night.